Welcome to Amateur Cooking. Today I'm going to be making some salted caramel, however you want to say it, brownies. And I got the recipe from the Barefoot Contessa's Foolproof recipe book. So we'll see how foolproof it actually is, because this is the first time I've ever made brownies that didn't come in a box, you know, pre-packaged and everything. So we're going to go ahead and give it a try. So firstly, I got all of our ingredients out. So I have some sugar, flour, baking powder, vanilla extract, butter, eggs, some flaked sea salt, some instant coffee, some caramel sauce or caramel sauce, some chocolate chips, and some baking chocolate. And so in case you're wondering where I am, I'm at my parents' kitchen because I try to do a few videos at my own kitchen and it's not very conducive to videos. And anyway, my parents have way nicer kitchen stuff than I do. And so firstly, just to make sure we have everything out, we also have measuring cups, and we have a mixing bowl, and over there we have a pot on the stove and a metal bowl, because we're going to need to do a little bit of a double boiler to melt some of the chocolate, and also our 9 by 13 pan for the oven. So we're going to go ahead and get everything ready to double boil. So in here we're going to be melting together the butter and the chocolate chips. So I'm going to go ahead and get these out. So we'll just set them over top of the water in this metal bowl and just stir until it gets nice and melty. So we're going to need 8 ounces of chocolate chips, which is a cup. Alright, so we've got that in there, and now we need both sticks of butter. And so they're already softened. We took them out of the fridge about an hour or so ago, just to make sure that we weren't, you know, working with cold butter, because that would take way longer than it needs to. And during this time, we already turned the oven on, so it should be totally preheated by the time everything is mixed together. So we'll be good to go with that. And so after this, we're gonna have to mix some of the dry ingredients together. So the water isn't quite boiling yet, so I'm gonna go ahead and just set this aside until we're ready. And so the next step is to mix together the flour, baking powder, and salt. So for our flour, we're going to need a half of a cup. So go ahead and get that out. Make sure we level it off just so we don't get too much, and try to stay as true to the recipe as possible. So there we have our flour, and after that we need the baking powder, and we're going to need 1.5 teaspoons. So also make sure that your baking powder is fresh, because a few times I've accidentally used expired baking powder and it does make a difference. So definitely be careful about the expiration date. Alright, here we go, and again, make sure to level it off. We need the salt too. And for some reason we needed flaked salt, which is a little hard to find, but the Barefoot Contessa suggested Malden brand. So go ahead and open this up. It says 2 to 3 teaspoons. So we'll go ahead and put in 2 for now. Okay, so for the powder mix, I just kind of mix it together with a fork just to get it mixed up a little bit. And so nextly, we're gonna have to mix the eggs, the sugar, and the vanilla. So firstly, we'll start with the sugar. And we need 1 cup and 2 tablespoons. This is gonna be a little hard since this is so full. Alright, that's pretty good. We have 3 large eggs next. And we need 1 tablespoon of vanilla. And for some reason it says to just stir it together instead of beat it together, so we're not going to be using any beaters. So I just got out a nice plastic spatula somewhere. So here we go. So I'm being careful just to break the yolks but not stir them too roughly. Alright, so this looks pretty good to me. There's not any lumps or anything weird going on. So I'm going to go ahead and set this aside for now. And since the water is nice and boiling, we're going to go ahead and get all this melted up. Alright, so everything is nice and melted. So we're going to go ahead and just give it one last stir. Make sure all the butter, you know, is totally smooth. So now we're going to mix it in with the eggs. Just going to be very careful. It's probably pretty hot. There's a little bit that didn't melt all the way, but hopefully that'll be fine. And now is also the point where we add in the little bit of coffee, and you're supposed to use instant coffee of any kind. So I just got the Starbucks Colombian medium. I don't know anything about coffee, but we need, I guess, 1.5 tablespoons. So I'll go ahead and measure that out. Alright, so it's pretty good. Now we're supposed to mix it together and wait till it gets to room temperature before we mix it with the flour. Alright, so everything is cooled down completely, and I think I forgot to mention the last step, but we did put some baker's chocolate, some unsweetened baker's chocolate in the butter and chocolate chip mixture. So everything's room temperature, so we're going to go ahead and mix this together. And the recipe said to stir it and not beat it, so we'll go ahead and stir it and just make sure that we get all the lumps out and everything. And also in this step, we have to add the rest of our chocolate chips, which is about another cup of it, and 2 more tablespoons of flour. And so while I was waiting for this to cool down, I went ahead and I greased the pan, and the oven is ready to go. So looks like we're on track to have some good brownies, and they better be good because normally, you know, when you get it from the store, it's like $5 for the box and you just have to get the eggs and oil and stuff, but usually you already have them. But in this case, just the ingredients that I didn't have, like which were the chocolate chips, the chocolate, the caramel, the, what else did I have to buy? The salt. All of that was like $30, so these better be worth it, you know? So they better be, what, like 7 times more delicious than normal brownies out of the box, so hopefully, fingers crossed. And this is another reason why I don't cook from scratch that often. Not only is it really time consuming, you know, if I got this out of the box, I would have been able to whip it together in like probably 10 minutes, and usually you only have to put those in the oven for like 20 minutes, and this one, I've been working on making it for like half an hour, and then I have to put it in the oven for 35 minutes. So anyway, this better be good. So you guys know that song Gypsy by Fleetwood Mac? It has been stuck in my head all day. So I've been singing it in my head while I've been baking because I have a terrible singing voice, otherwise I would sing it for you because it's so good. But anyway, so it looks like everything, all the lumps and everything are out of here, so we're going to go ahead and put it in the pan. And the pan is already greased up. You can, of course, use butter or just pan, whatever is easier for you. So we'll go ahead and get all this in here. Oh no, there's a little bit of flour at the bottom, but that's why I'm an amateur cook. So anyway, once we get all this in here, we're putting it in the oven at 350 for 35 minutes. And as soon as we get out of the oven, we're going to have to sprinkle on some of the flaked salt, and also we're going to go ahead and spread on the caramel then. caramel, whatever. So we just got the brownies out of the oven. They were in for 35 minutes, and so now it's just the finishing touches. So we have a little bit of caramel sauce that we're going to put on, and you're just supposed to drizzle it all over the top and then sprinkle some of the flaked sea salt on it. So we'll go ahead and get started. And I guess you can kind of just do however much you want, whatever suits your liking. You're supposed to do this as soon as it comes out, and I can tell why, because right now it's kind of making a sizzling sound, I guess, seeping into the top of the brownies that are still nice and hot. Alright, so I guess that's good. And we'll go ahead and get some of the sea salt, and you're just going to sprinkle a little bit on. Again, I guess it's however much you want, but I'm probably going to use it a little sparingly. I don't like too much salt. Alright, so now we're just going to let it cool off, and we'll be back for a taste test in a few minutes. So we're going to go ahead and taste test them. They're nice and hot still, so mine's kind of falling apart. They're good. What do you think?
Excellent. Perfect.
Very good. So I guess I'd recommend this recipe. It wasn't too hard, but easy enough. Barefoot Contessa, some salted caramel brownies.